How you doing today, Evelina?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to see you were able to make it in today on a snowy day. Um, so, I haven't met you before, so I usually like to kind of do a few icebreakers with newer clients, just kind of figure out where you're going. So the three questions I like to ask are like, what is life looking like with your family? What's life looking like for you? And just like any sort of get to know you thing, any sort of special like thing you'd like me to know about yourself as we kind of move into counseling.
Yeah, sure. Well, I don't really live with my family anymore.
Okay.
I'm 25. I moved out a very long time ago. So we live in separate states. We don't really talk very often. I have two brothers who are younger than me, and they still live with my parents. And yeah, we're fine. We have no problems. Yeah, we have a really good family. I work a full-time job, an office job. Work. I really enjoy my job. I have really good coworkers. My boss is great.
Where's the job at?
It's in the city.
Okay.
Yeah, I just answer phone calls, make sure that everything's going good. Yeah. So that's kind of life. I work. I hang out with my friends. I don't do a whole lot, after college. You just kind of adult, live life.
Yeah, just make some money, use your free time wisely.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything really big that you need to know about me. I just felt that, I had some friends who were kind of concerned just with my emotional stability, I guess. And so they said it might be helpful for me to have someone to talk to outside of the realm of, my friend circle. And so I agreed with them a little bit, but also I was like, I don't really know what you're seeing. So I came in.
Hopefully, counseling gives you a space to kind of talk through some of those thoughts and some of the things your friends are saying that maybe you don't identify right now. Do you know what kind of like set them off to talk to you? Was there an event? Was there a pattern?
I think it's just kind of I become a little distant. I'm kind of not feeling myself anymore. The days just kind of go by. Wake up, get ready for work, go to work. I go out with my friends sometimes, and I go to bed. I wake up.
Monotony to life.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen once you kind of get settled in a routine, right?
Mm-hmm. So everything's kind of foggy. I feel like time goes by, but I'm not really in the moment anymore. I'm just there.
Kind of like you're taking a step back.
Mm-hmm.
You're watching things happen, not
Exactly.
Not provoking them as much.
Yeah, so I just feel like nothing's really, super exciting or, super sad. It's just kind of like nothing. I just go through every day, wake up and do it again.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in. I know a lot of people kind of end up in that rut sometimes of getting used to the job. You said you're 25, so you kind of been in the workforce for a little while, and you're just getting used to these like day-to-day normal structure. What would it look like? What would your goal be, like in your life? You said that you feel like you're not present. What would that presence look like to you?
I don't know. I just feel like the things that we used to do. I used to get really excited, but I just don't feel like life is exciting anymore. It's just really bland, and I just don't feel like I'm feeling anything. Like I'm just there.
Could you kind of describe like maybe one of the last times you felt like that real excitement, like you're really
maybe it's a couple months ago. My friends, like, we had like a friend group reunion, and like we all get together and we were like celebrating like how far we've come, and it was just a really good time. And yeah, I was really happy to be there. I feel like I could like take a picture of that day and I would have actually been smiling. And so like it was really good. Like in that, I feel like 2 months ago, like everything was better. Like I had feelings, and now it's just kind of like we could probably do that same thing, and I would just be the person at the end of the picture, just like, hey, yeah. So.
I see. So it sounds like your friends have been a really important part of your life. They're one of the things that brings you joy.
Yeah. Brings
you kind of that excitement or that presence that you're talking about. You mentioned kind of a time frame, 2 months. Do you have anything more to say about that?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why emotionally I've changed. I mean, still working the same job, still have the same friends. Like, I don't feel like what's going on in my life could have that much impact on my emotions.
Yeah, sometimes it's not necessarily like an event that happens, but just like kind of a shift that I've heard a few people talk about. So what, I know you've kind of talked about like, oh, I was excited about my friends here, and now I'm in kind of this dull, like, sort of repetitive. This life doesn't have the same zest it did. What does that look like in your day to day? Like, are you just what's the biggest difference from then and now?
The biggest difference. I don't know. Like, I just feel like maybe something happened and I am just now realizing how it affected me. Because, like, 2 months ago I was fine. And now I'm just kind of like, oh, here we are. Like, my 6 o'clock alarm's gonna ring in a minute. I will just get up now. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe something happened and I missed it.
I see. Well, when you look back, do you feel like there could be something that changed?
I feel like in the 2 month span, nothing has changed, but I feel like in the past, things have happened that, are sad or really good, and maybe, maybe this is my aha, or like the car is screeching to a halt, and now I'm realizing, like, dang, like that really happened.
I feel like that, whoa, like.
But like it's like, whoa, I feel nothing. Yeah, I don't know. It just, things feel different, but like it doesn't seem different. Like I look around and everything feels like looks the same, but I feel different. And I think my friends are starting to see it, and that's why I'm nervous, because it's like my answer is always, well, I don't know. And they're like, well, you should know. And I'm just like, well, I don't. Like, I don't know what happened to my excitement. I just feel caught in the mundane of like today, tomorrow, to-do list. Like, I don't know. I just feel like a train. It doesn't stop.
And I hear a lot of people talk about that hamster wheel effect. Like you feel like you just keep running and running and running. You never have the time to really look around. Another thing, just kind of from what you're saying, it sounds like there could be some things that haven't been processed fully you said you had some sad events, maybe some big happy events, and sometimes when we don't fully recognize what's happened and feel those moments, sometimes it can just get a little overwhelming later. So would you be comfortable if we kind of like dove into that and talked a little bit about maybe some big life events?
Yeah.
Just to see if there's something.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, when you said, like, maybe I didn't process this sadness, or maybe I didn't, feel the full joy of this thing that happened. Was there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah. Maybe 5 years ago, my grandmother had passed away. And we were close, we talked on the phone, we emailed, the normal
grandma.
So, it was this really big thing for a really long time in my family, and I just kind of stayed strong, helped my little brothers get through it because in all reality, they were the favorites, so I made sure that they didn't feel like they were missing a void with her being gone, and not that I took on the role of my grandma, but I made sure that they were okay. So I feel like potentially something could be there, but I feel like 5 years is a really long time to now be like, oh, yeah, you forgot something there. You didn't deal with it.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a very hard loss. From the sounds of it, it seems like you were kind of standing firm in that, and sort of, you said like she loved the little brothers a lot. They had a connection there, so you're kind of helping kind of bring them through that. And, maybe you didn't quite take the time to really work on yourself in those moments. Would you say that could be?
Yeah, it could be. Maybe.
Yeah, that's difficult. I mean, 5 years is a long time, but if you weren't giving yourself the space to really think about like what that loss means to you and like how that'll change and affect your life, it could be something that could resurface in some ways like this. Do you think there could be some connection?
Yeah, I do feel like this potentially could be it. I can't think of any more like major big moments that are recent enough to affect me. I mean, there's always small things like a pet dying or like a family friend moves. My little brothers are going to start going to college, but it's like, okay, like, I shouldn't feel numb.
Yeah.
Because of these life changes. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I get that. Well, I think this would be a valid place to talk for some of the rest of our time and just kind of dive into some of that. And then if something else comes to mind, just let me know.
Okay.
Sometimes those thoughts kind of surface. But can I ask you a few questions about your grandma? Kind of what the change looked like. So what was the relationship like with her? You said you emailed, text. What was there anything more to it?
We wrote letters occasionally when I had breaks when I was in college. I would go visit her. Sometimes she would come visit me.
Did she live far?
Yeah, not like super far, like 2 hours. So It wasn't like this like big drive. She loved to drive, so yeah, she would sometimes come visit me maybe once every 2 months when I was in college. I graduated a couple of years ago, so it wasn't like she was visiting me like all the time after I graduated, but it was like when I was in college, she would just stop by, we'd catch a meal, catch up, and then she'd maybe like bring me something, and then she'd go home. So we shared some good special moments. So
sounds like a sweet relationship the two of you had.
Yeah. she's cool.
So when that was, gone,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of the visit stopped and all that, did you notice any change in kind of your demeanor or the way
Mm-hmm. I think initially, I was really sad about it. Luckily, I wasn't in the same environment when she passed, meaning in college, so that,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I was at school still, the restaurants or the places that we'd hang out, those would kind of, sting a little bit, but, she passed and I transitioned into a new environment, so there wasn't, all these, in-my-face reminders of her. And because there's quite a drive home, it's not like I'm driving through her neighborhood on the regular. So I think I was sad for a couple months, but also my sadness kind of stayed in the circle of my friends. I didn't really talk to my family a lot about it because my brothers were really struggling with it. It was just really hard for them to deal with the loss. It was kind of their first loss. So, I would have been sad at some times if I, let's say, went home to check on them or support them at something that grandma would support them. In a way, I was a different person. I was strong. I mean, I wasn't not strong when I was sad, but I was stronger, happier. I was there for them.
Do you feel like that strength was sort of a front?
Not really. I think it's what I had to do. Because I think if I would have been sad, it would have been harder for them. So.
Yeah, I think it's pretty commendable kind of trying to help them run through something like that. It's so difficult. It sounds like you mentioned that she would visit you in college, and then kind of that her leaving kind of came around the same time as your transition out of college. Would be right about that. So that's a lot of big changes at one time. So when you're kind of going through the workforce and going and getting your first big jobs and moving along, it seems like maybe her not being there it was normal at that point because that's all you knew from that time.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of come to the end of our time here, but I think that might be something worth thinking about through the week, and hopefully I'll be able to see you next week and kind of talk through what that time in your life looked like a little more. Is there anything you'd like to talk about on the way out, just that you remember from the session that stood out?
Yeah, I think this is a good starting point. Maybe it will be what I needed to get me through. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's a good idea. I can see myself coming back. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Thanks for sharing.